We're going to start with the air signs. First sign up is Libra. This is your new moon, Libra, so use it to make big plans. Think of it as your New Year's. This is the time to go within, figure out what your dreams are, figure out what you want to bring into your life, and bring it. Also, it is a new moon in Libra, so it's going to have things to do with relationships. But with all these planets all clustered up in your first house, you ought to be able to produce big things this month. You've got the Sun, Mars, Mercury, the Moon, the part of fortune, all in your first house. So you have your heart, your courage, your body, your mind, and your soul all working together in the same direction. Now Mercury may be retrograde, but nevertheless, you have a lot of beautiful Libran energy on your side, so use it. Go back to the beginning of this video and really look at all the instruction that I've given you about how to get the most out of this new moon, and then go for it, because you only get one new moon every year, and you deserve the best, Libra. I should know, I'm a Libra. So this new moon is jam-packed for you. Take advantage. Now let's look at what the other planets are bringing in. Uranus is in your 8th house, so this is affecting money that is between you and your partner. Now if you're not partnered up, this would be big money, like a mortgage or a home loan or a big insurance payout or your retirement funds or investments or 401ks. But the 8th house also has to do with sex, death, taxes, and rebirth, and anything having to do with the occult. So if you're a student of the occult, with Uranus transiting this house, you probably will have been studying all sorts of different topics. But if it's really addressing things like death and taxes, well, perhaps you have had some unexpected deaths in your family, or perhaps you have had some unexpected tax issues come up. The unexpected is the key word, that it's going to be surprising. Now, the inconjunct between Uranus and all the planets in your first house is probably going to mean disruptions in the flow of your resources, other people's money. So look for issues pertaining to taxes, or maybe something to do with retirement. I mean, if it's having to do with sex, then I would say that possibly there is something coming your way from your partner in the way of a request for doing something unusual in your sex life. But it's most likely having to do with something more monetary, like insurance or taxes or investments or retirement funds. There's going to be something that has to be addressed, and it's unusual. That's probably the outcome for that. And then we have Chiron and Aries in the 7th house opposing all of your planets in the 1st house. So this would mean that you have to address something about your partner's health. It could mean that it involves you as well, because in the opposition, all those planets are in the house for you and your body. But the good news is that Chiron offers a way to heal. Whether this is emotional or physical healing, it offers a way to do it. So pay attention to that, and pay attention to your partner. Pluto is in your 4th house, but it doesn't have a direct aspect to all of the planets in your 1st house. You're just going to feel that energy coming to light. So when it comes to your home, look for things that are in the foundation of the home. Make sure that that's sound. Other than that, I don't think you're going to feel anything really profound having to do with your home in the month of October. All right, let's move on to Aquarius. So Aquarius, for this new moon, you have the cluster of planets in your 9th house. You have Pluto sitting almost on your ascendant in the 12th house. Chiron is opposing the cluster in the 9th house coming from your 3rd house, and Uranus is in the 4th house. So for you, Aquarius, this new moon is addressing things overseas or things on the internet or things pertaining to either electronics or software or applications, internet stuff, or things having to do with other cultures. It also, the ninth house pertains to publishing and other religions. Religions that were not taught to you in childhood, but religions that you explore as an adult. So that could be religions that seem so-called foreign to other people, or it could just be a religion that's foreign to you, that's not known to you. The moon and the sun and Mercury and Mars all being in your ninth house may give you the urge to travel a great deal. You may feel really strongly that you need to plan a huge trip right now. Also, keep in mind, though, that Mercury is retrograde. It's not a good time to travel, but it is a good time to plan. So you can plan the big trip, just don't start the trip at all until after Mercury is direct, which is October 18th. In addition, you have Chiron opposition to that cluster of planets in the ninth house. So part of your learning, part of what you're going to be questing for is something to do with healing that pertains to maybe one of your brothers or sisters, or a neighbor, or somebody close to you from childhood. Not somebody like an adult friend, but somebody from your childhood. Uranus in your fourth house may mean that you are changing homes a great deal, because Uranus is not there just for 10 minutes. It's there for, I can't remember what the cycle is. I think it's 7 years in a sign. So Uranus has been in your fourth house for quite some time. So if you haven't already moved, you may have been in a situation where you're having to move every couple of years or something. Maybe you're doing contract work or traveling work, something like that. You're going to get the feeling that the ninth house stuff that you're trying to arrange are somehow in conflict with what's going on at home. So there will be some sort of an uncomfortable issue or event between Uranus and the cluster of planets in the ninth house, and it will center around changing of location, change of maybe learning, maybe change of higher learning. It could be that you're learning things, you're like in higher education, college or a vocational school or something like that, and there's some abrupt change that needs to be made during this new moon, or gets exposed, gets identified during this new moon. Having Pluto right on top of your ascendant is definitely something you're going to feel, and having Pluto change directions on the new moon is going to pull that change of the travel stuff and whatever's going on in the ninth to the fourth house. It's going to affect that, because Pluto exposes things that are weak or corrupt or rotted, and helps them break apart so that they can be rebuilt in a stronger fashion. So you may find that the structure that you've built pertaining to your ninth house topics, and again, that could be publishing, that could be higher learning, it could be religion, it could be foreign countries, it could be the internet, it could be publishing. Any of those areas, you may have some very elaborate plans that are just not going to work, and once we have the new moon, Pluto will begin to expose the weaknesses of those plans. So that's what I have to say to you, Aquarius. So now on to Gemini. Gemini, you have the cluster of planets for the new moon in your fifth house for fun. So yay for you. That's probably the easiest one of all, because it's hitting a succedent house. It's not hitting one of the cardinal or cadent houses. Having the new moon in your fifth house could herald the entrance of somebody new in your family circle, so it could signal a pregnancy. You've got Mars there, you've got the moon there, you've got the sun there, you've got all sorts of activity in the house for children. So, and the part of, even the part of fortune. So I'm going to say that this is very likely somebody new coming into the family in a good way. Having new people come into your circle, into your family, does not always mean just having a baby. It could mean that somebody's coming to live with your family for a short time, like a foreign exchange student or a foster child or a foster pet. It could also be a pet that's coming into your family. Whoever it is, whatever the cause for joy is, you're going to enjoy it a great deal. Now, it's coming in at a time when Mercury is retrograde, so it's going to be a short stay. Now, if this is a baby, this could mean that the baby can't come home until after mid-October, which is when Mercury goes direct. So there could be some little hiccup there. So if you're adopting a baby, most likely that baby's not going to land on your doorstep until after October 18th. Now, Pluto in the 8th house has to do with dealings having to do with your joint resources, but also I always call this the house of big money, whereas the second house is the house of money that comes through, basically through a paycheck. The 8th house is the source of money that comes from all different kinds of sources, trust funds, mutual funds, inheritances, things like that, insurance payouts. So Pluto isn't making any direct contact with any of the planets here in the chart that we're talking about today, but it is changing direction, and it is in square by sign to the cluster of planets surrounding the new moon. So what you may feel with your 8th house topics is that things need to be examined. Things will need to be reworked because they will be shown to be inadequate in some way. Pluto always exposes corruption, things that are rotten, things that are not strong, things that are set up for devious means, things that are not going to survive into the future. And for that, you should be grateful, Gemini, because if you ever do want to retire, you have to have some kind of a platform to live off of if you're no longer working. And that's what Pluto is going to tell you about now, beginning with information you'll start to receive at the time of the new moon. Chiron in opposition to the cluster of planets in your 5th house means to me that somebody from a group or association that you are a part of is going to hold the key to bringing this new person into your family structure. They could also be the key to the healing that your family really needs. Speaking of the family structure, this being coming into your family, whether it's a pet, a baby, a foster child, a foreign exchange student, or just somebody having to stay on your couch for a few weeks, this person is going to help bring about the healing in the family. So if whatever strife or whatever difficulty there is in the family, it's going to be healed by this person coming in. So that's really joyous, and that's really nice. Having Uranus in the 12th house is always a little scary, but Gemini, I think you can handle it. And the presence of Uranus there in the 12th house in conjunct aspect to the Sun, Moon, and Mars means to me that the whole arrangement of this person coming into your life is going to be a sudden thing. It may even be imposed upon you in a way that you don't really have a choice. That's kind of Uranian, right? Now, it could be that you're taking someone in because they were victims of a natural disaster and they need a place to stay, in which case the temporary nature, due to the Mercury retrograde, would make sense. So just think about that. There's all sorts of stories that could go along with this planetary arrangement. I'm just offering one. And good luck on this new moon, Gemini. And like I said, you really have an easy path to tread this month. It's not falling in any difficult house for you at all. So you should quite enjoy this new moon. Now let's go on to the water signs. And the first of the water signs is Cancer. Cancer, this new moon is falling for you in the 4th house, so it is definitely going to affect your family a great deal. This arrangement of planets in your 4th house could possibly mean real changes to the family arrangement, meaning that there could be somebody new coming into the family. Now, Gemini had a similar thing, but it was because all of the planets were in the 5th house, and it was a much different arrangement. But this Cancer is having to do with probably a new person moving into the house or moving out of the house, or it could just mean a switch. There could be somebody moving in and somebody moving out, or there could be several individuals, as there are several planets at play. With Mercury in retrograde while this is taking place, I would say that some of this is going to be temporary. But you've got Mars, Moon, and Sun there, so some of it's not going to be temporary. Some of it is definitely going to be a permanent change. Also, you've got part of fortune there, so this is going to be something that's pleasurable for you, that you're happy about, that makes you feel good in some way. You've got Chiron in opposition to that cluster of planets for the new moon, and this tells me that this is all a healing gesture, that everything that changes within your family in the month of October, Cancer, is going to be really, really beneficial to everybody involved. Plus, you've got the part of fortune there. That's also kind of a little Jupiter twist that makes things very beneficial. Uranus is in that inconjunct aspect to the Sun and the Moon, and so this tells me that the whole arrangement of the changes that happen to the family structure, or the home structure rather, are going to be sudden and out of your control. Like, you really won't have any say at when the people come or go. It's just going to happen to you. And that's not that bad. It could be a lot worse with Uranus. I don't feel anything particularly nefarious about this whole thing. I don't feel like it's that bad. Now, here's another scenario, Cancer, that I also put forth for Gemini. It could be that you are opening your home to somebody who has been misplaced because of a natural disaster or because of immigration. It could be a foster child. It could be a new pet. But don't forget, I really feel that's multiple people. So there could be people going and people coming. And they could be coming and going in just the few weeks period while Mercury is retrograde. And then maybe one or two of the people who have come are permanently added to your family. It could be a lot of different things, Cancer. But I think that it's going to be joyful and it's going to be a healing, beneficial addition to your family. Now, Pluto is going direct in your 7th house, almost your 8th house, and I feel like that's not going to have a tremendous effect on your relationships, which is the 7th house. I feel more that Pluto is going to move quickly into your 8th house, and that's where it's going to affect your finances. Inheritances, trust funds, insurance payouts, mortgages, big money, investments. So it also, the 8th house also has to do with sex and death and taxes. So some of those things may be coming to light too. You may find that there was a tax bill that was unpaid, or you may find that the accounting people that were working for you are just the wrong firm and they're not doing the right thing for you. Pluto exposes things that are weak, corrupt, rotting, or just no good for the future. And that's what you're going to find as Pluto turns direct and it focuses on your 8th house and your finances. I don't think it's going to have too much to do with your relationships unless you have planets near the mid to the end of your 7th house for partnerships. Then Pluto's going to land right on it, and that's a whole other thing, and you need to see an astrologer about that, so call me. Okay. All right, Cancer. Let's move on to Scorpio. Scorpio, this new moon, the planets are all falling in your 12th house. This is a dream come true for you. First of all, every year you have the new moon in your 12th house in Libra, and it's the time of year that you love. And it is the moon that you love because it stirs up all those little psychic, spidey senses that you love. And it gives you a bird's eye view on the secrets that are going on in everybody else's lives. Your dreams just are on fire and you are dreaming in a prophetic manner. Now, put Mercury there, even Mercury retrograde. And it's like you have a direct cable hookup to everybody else's subconscious. So you're really going to enjoy this new moon. You're going to enjoy seeing everybody kind of squirm because they know you know their secrets. You're going to enjoy knowing those secrets. It's going to give you a lot of confidence. What I don't want you to do, though, is to confront people and to manipulate people and use them with the knowledge that you gain. Just keep it under your hat. Think of it as an early Christmas present, Scorpio. You don't want to nail everybody now. What's the fun in that? What are you going to do for 2022 if you let all the cats out of the bag, right? So, Pluto, your planet, is going direct at the end of your 3rd house, which is ideas and communication and daily routines and sisters and brothers in your neighborhood. So those are most likely the people that you get all the secrets and dirt on anyway. But it's very close to your 4th house cusp, and that's your home. So be careful, Scorpio, because Pluto, your ruling planet, is about to just pull the rug out from under you, all about your house. Beware. You could be finding out that you have termites in the beams, or that your foundation is crumbling from persistent flooding, or that your furnace and hot water heater and boiler or whatever are all on the fritz. You could find things in the foundational aspects of your home that are just all about to crumble. So don't be laughing the last laugh, because you may have some real world things to take care of here very soon. But in the 12th house, you will enjoy this very heightened psychic time where you can delight in all of the little gossipy things that you love to know about people. So enjoy that, but don't use it on everybody, okay? Now, next month, you're going to have your new moon in your 1st house, and that's when everybody's going to be agreeing that you're probably the most psychic person around, and they all think you're great. So just hold out for that. Now, Uranus is in your 7th house, and it's in conjunct to all those things in the 12th house. So if you don't take my advice and you do start trying to do little scorpionic things to all your friends, you're going to be found out, and you're going to be called out by your friends. Uranus is not going to be having that. And yet, Uranus is the very planet that's going to be instigating using all that information. So you need to practice some restraint, Scorpio. You cannot just let it all out. And I know usually you don't. Usually you're very, very circumspect. And I know that you usually love keeping these secrets to yourself. But there's so much energy there right now. That Mars plus the Mercury retrograde, you're just dying to blab it all out. So really, I mean, go in the bathroom and talk to the mirror. Don't use this stuff. It's just not worth it. And Chiron in the 6th house, right across from all of that cluster of new moon stuff, if you follow my directions and you use that, it'll be a healing on you. Chiron will affect a healing on you of whatever is going on in your little weird dark subconscious, because we know y'all have them, Scorpio. And that Chiron energy is going to be a revelation to you. You're going to feel it and be like, what is that? And then you're going to go, oh my God, I think something shifted. Because coupled with Pluto going direct and then the Chiron, you're going to have some amazing energy going on during the month of October. It's going to be really sweet for you, Scorpio. So just hang in there and try to hold back. Don't be so quick to use those secrets to manipulate other people. And not that I think that's all Scorpios do. Scorpios have a lot of beautiful qualities, and I think that other uses for the qualities that are coming out in this new moon, you could have some great idea of a new business. You could have some great ideas for helping people and for healing people yourself with that Chiron opposing all of those new moon planets. So, you know, Scorpio is shrewd. You don't need my help to get your life together. You know a lot of things, Scorpio. You have that deep, dark connection to the mysterious. and the divine. And I know you use that all the time. It's just that you are very powerful, and it's just a temptation for you to wield that power on the rest of us mere mortals because it's fun for you. So that's why I'm giving you all the warnings. I love you, Scorpio. I love all of you. So don't think that I'm putting you down at all. I'm kind of in awe and a little bit jealous, truth be told. Okay, let's go on to Pisces. Now, Pisces, you've got all of the new moon energy in your 8th house for other people's money, for joint resources. But first things first, I want to talk about the 2nd house. The 2nd house is opposing all of those planets in your 8th house. And in the 2nd house, we have Chiron. Chiron is a planet of healing, and you, Pisces, are the sign for spiritual healing. So I want you to think long and hard about what it is that needs to be healed in you. You may want to take time during this new moon to really think about healing. Now, the new moon and all those planets are in that 8th house. The 8th house also rules occult matters, metaphysical matters, and so that could also include healing. So a different kind of healing, Pisces, than you might be used to. That's what I want you to think about on this new moon. Go within, search your soul, see what it is that is really bleeding and broken, and heal it with this Chiron energy. You may find that you have a talent for it. It may be something that you decide to do for your friends, as a hobby, or even ultimately for a career. But this is an opportunity for you to really try it out. Now, Uranus is in that 3rd house. The 3rd house is creativity and communications, and it's at that inconjunct to all of those new moon planets. So you may find a sudden inspiration of how to use all of that new moon energy and what to do with it in terms of healing. So it could be really, really amazing for you, Pisces. This could be a really great new moon for you. Now, Pluto is going direct in your 11th house, but it's really at the end of your 11th house, almost into your 12th house. So I think what you're going to find, Pisces, is that you are going to be examining what's good and what's not good about your healing abilities and subconscious work. So 12th house, subconscious, the house of self-sabotage, the house of self-undoing, the house for people who are forgotten, the house for very, very distant foreign lands. There's lots of things going on in the 12th house that Pluto could address. And because you're a Pisces, I think healing might be one of your favorite topics. And with Pluto coming into the 12th house, Pluto the plow is digging up all of the stuff in your subconscious, in your dreams, in your plans for healing that are weak or rotting or not ready for the future, not stable, not strong enough for the future. And that's what you might be changing. So coming back to that Chiron opposite all the other planets in your 8th house, now is the time to really formulate a plan about how you want to move forward with your healing or clairvoyant abilities or metaphysical abilities or something like that. I mean, and this may not be your jam at all, Pisces. You may, run a daycare. I don't know. But, think about these things. See how that you can work them into your new moon practice, and just give it a shot. It's a very interesting thing. You may have a real talent for it. And who knows? If you don't try, you'll never know.